Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to NFT Live on the Web3 Network. Another week in Web3. Happy Simpsons Monday to everybody out there. We're actually going to have a very, very special guest, one that's associated with that Simpsons episode on Saturday. Super excited to be sitting here with Biggie Poppins, with Gifted, with all of you in chat. Our vibe, our tribe. I'm excited, man. It feels good. Vibes are high. Biggie, what's going on, brother?
Dude, I don't know. I got my voice back, I guess.
All right. Oh, there it
I've
is.
been playing around with the sound deck. I'm psyched, dude. I can't wait to. I'm like a kid with a new toy with this thing, dude. I don't know. Start trolling people. I understand GIF so much more now.
I'm glad we were the second ones trolled. You trolled us on the GM Web3 morning show as well. So NFT Live is now the fully second troll for Biggie Poppins. Gifted, what's up, dude?
Yeah, well, I mean, somebody's got to be first, you know, and it just seems like GM Web3 so often is. But no, it seems like a lot of good energy, strong energy coming into this week. A lot of cool things to catch up on. I mean, The Simpsons was just an awesome thing to see. And I do see Chris down here popping in. So very excited to have Neon Cat creator, the man himself, PR Guitar Man of Simpsons fame, joining us right now, which is awesome. So we're going to talk about that. I mean, we literally could show off the entire episode here because it's only like 7 minutes long, but we might get taken down if we do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ape Fest recap stuff to talk coming out of that. Meme coin was big. There's just a lot of cool things. The BMW stuff. I don't know, man. Feels good to be here.
Yeah, we are very early in today's episode, so we're sharing out to socials and all this stuff. If you guys could do that on X, if you could leave a like on YouTube while we get started, get as many people in here as possible. That's where we're at right now. But as Gifted mentioned, we do have Chris, PR Guitar Man, founder of Neon Cat. And I'm excited to have him. That was highlighted on this episode that we keep mentioning, which we'll pull up in just a moment. How are you feeling, Chris? How are you doing on this? Is it like a hangover type feeling?
Can you hear me okay, first of all?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. No, it definitely is a hangover. I didn't really get much sleep last night. My phone has been blowing up, but it's awesome. This is it's a dream come true moment. I grew up on The Simpsons. I've been a fan of the show forever, and to see my artwork on there, just used to make fun of everybody in the NFT space, I just felt like it was just the best way to show it off on The Simpsons. So I'm really excited.
That's awesome. That's
awesome, man. I'm going to do my best to pull up the episode here. There's been essentially leaks on X of people doing the full episodes of some of the clips. So we're going to do our best. Yes, another artist also that was featured, Beeple, that we'll touch on in just a moment.
You're definitely not alone in growing up on The Simpsons and being, this being a special moment. You are included amongst some very, very special projects and artists in this episode. Beeple, X-Copy, Dmitry Cherniak, not that many other specific artists. Then, you get into projects. You mentioned there was an NBA Top Shot reference at the back of the train.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Jaded Apes. We had the Bored Apes. There was some doodles in there, crypto kitties, maybe some Nakas. I don't know.
All right.
I love that it got some airtime too. It actually spoke, right? Not all of them got to put in a few words.
I want to say the Bored Apes, the Bored Ape parody, the satire talked, the Doodles one talked as he was throwing up, and then Yan Cat was the finisher, saying that all NFTs are going to zero, which I thought was so fitting for the episode, for a Treehouse of Horror episode.
All right, we are going to cover that Simpsons episode here early, but Gifted did mention we have a bunch of stuff to cover today. So let me give you guys a brief rundown, and then we'll hit you with the disclaimer, and then we'll be off and running. So obviously no episodes here on Friday, but a lot broke over that time. We did cover the meme token launch on the daily rehash that you guys saw on the channel. But we're going to dive into Captainz and meme here. OpenSea speaking out, and then the subsequent Magic Eden Yuga Labs announcement, I think, is definitely on the minds of a lot of folks. What else do I have here? Just the overall market, man. I think ETH's over 1,900 right now. Bitcoin is doing its thing, and then we do have a slew of altcoins that are running as well. I mean, we talked about Solana was kind of the belle of the ball the last month or two in the altcoin scene, and we're seeing that alongside NFT price floors just running. We got Grapes that we want to talk on, Mocaverse, and then we will hit some Ape Fest recaps as well, because there's a lot happening on that front. So, dude, a packed episode here today. Hopefully, we can hit all of it.
And then we're gonna get to rate my bags at the end.
Yeah, no, this is the one day that I'll say we won't have a rate my bags today. So, all right, Giff, hit him with the disclaimer here. Let him know to not speckle, and then we'll be off and running.
It's that time. Yes, the disclaimer. If you're not new here, you know all too well what the disclaimer is all about. But if you are new here, first of all, welcome. This is NFT Live, one of the longest running, maybe the longest running shows in all of NFT and Web3. We couldn't be more excited that you're here. But you must know one thing, and that is that nothing we talk about on this show or any of the Web3 network shows should be misconstrued as financial advice. It's just not. And I know it can be difficult when you look up here and you see some bright, intelligent looking motherfuckers. You might want to be like, I should follow everything that they say as financial wisdom and guidance, but no, you would be wrong. So please always do your own research. Be safe out there. This is just cool stuff found on the internet. It's all public domain. Just remember that. We're not financial advisors.
All right, Giff, I appreciate that. And with the disclaimer being done, we are off and running on the episode. I've done my sharing, and now we can talk about the Simpsons NFTs. Okay, this episode was teased out, I think, like 3 or 4 months ago. Treehouse of Horror, they had this poster that I'll bring up in just a moment with all the different NFTs. So Chris knew that the Neon Cat was going to be in this episode. We just didn't know in what light the Simpsons were going to kind of portray NFTs. We didn't know how this would all look and play out in the broader sphere. And we finally got our answer. So I believe Saturday night, or was it last night? Was it last night? Last night. So Sunday night, this episode aired. We'll play some clips from that and try not to get banned. Guys, just thoughts on the rollout of the episode, like with the script that was there, and then kind of the recap that we've been seeing around the space.
I think, honestly, my biggest opinion is that somebody from The Simpsons is a degen. They know what's going on. The intricacies that were in that episode, the artists that were featured, the projects, they kind of summarized everything in a way that was easy for people to understand it. I feel like it was very well done in very Simpsons-like manner. The Simpsons loves to hate on NFTs all they want, but I feel like this episode was secretly a love letter to everybody in the NFT space.
All right, this is where my co-hosts jump in and have their takes. Also, if this video is like chopped up, let me know, but it looks good on my end.
It looks good, and we're absolutely going to get kicked off of YouTube for showing it. I absolutely agree, Chris. I think that first of all, yes, they did great research. I'm sure they had some people either in, their interns or one or two of the writers that were, pretty familiar with the space. Because it's nuanced. It's definitely not just very, basic as it can get. NFTs are dead nonsense. There's quite a bit of nuance included, and the love letter aspect of it, I think, is exactly that. It's that they took the time to create a lot of different Easter eggs, a lot of different really interesting and relevant, iconic cultural references throughout the whole thing. And that's, I think, the love letter, because it takes a lot of time to actually create, something this interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll keep going.
No, that's it, man. They clearly put a lot of thought and time and effort into creating something that wasn't just a basic takedown. It had nuance. It had a lot of very interesting cultural references. So yeah, on some level, it has to be a love letter,
I'm greedy. I wish it would have been a little bit longer, the segment, right? Like when it first happened and then it switched to another story, I was like, oh, they're gonna come back, right? Like there's so much more to be said. But hey, maybe down the line they continue it, right? I enjoyed it a lot. I loved seeing the Neon Cat there. I do have a question for Chris though regarding like the choice of Neon Cat. I know we're getting nitpicky, right? Like you're already featured, it's awesome. But let's just get nitpicky. Like you're the artist there. Like, did you like the pizza? Or would you have preferred another food item?
I love the pizza. I actually drew a pizza way back in 2011. I just like never released it. I have all these Neon Cats that I've like drawn and just never released yet. They're like on the back burner on stuff to fix. But yeah, it's a good pizza. It's very close to my pixel art. The only nitpick that I would have is that the rainbow trail is flipped upside down to the original Neon Cat. But everybody has their own interpretation of it. And honestly, I think I love the voice that they used. It was very like in my head, that's how I hear the voice or similar to it. But yeah, just looking at it, I mean, I just love seeing it. And I think they did it right. Like, and I remember going back to the poster, seeing Neon Cat on the poster itself. And I remember it being outside of the scene of Marge, like beating everybody up with it. So I figured Neon Cat would have a more prominent, more positive role. And I feel like I was right on that one. I feel like it was fun. It was like, it made fun of NFTs, but it was like positive. It was cute, funny, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you see the responses from all of the hosts up here, and obviously we've been in the space, and I think they did have an ode to NFTs here. I'm going to attempt to play a little bit of this audio so that you guys can hear the sound of the Neon Cat now, because we now have the first audio, and this is awesome. Here we go.
The NFT craze is over.
So the briefest TLDR here. Does anybody really want to give a TLDR? If I can do it, but do you want to do it? Yeah.
Well, the train here is a reference to a well-known story and movie from Snowpiercer, and so they basically used the Snowpiercer setting. Yeah, they used it as like the setting theme. And a grand metaphor for the broader crypto and NFT space. And they used, the sort of social class system of the train to talk about the different value and like how you get up to the front is by like disrupting or burning or killing other NFTs. But yeah, Snowpiercer is an interesting reference that's included throughout, where you've got sort of the lower class citizens relegated all the way to the back, and those are of course the low, these low end JPEGs. Then you work through the different tiers, and you got the crypto kitties. And
I love how she just like takes over and kills all the crypto kitties. I love that actually.
Yeah, she's like, I guess I gotta do this.
Yeah.
But she learns she has to like kill everybody to get to the front. She's like, I hope you guys don't feel pain, as she's like walloping them with each other.
Yeah, but then of course you get all the way to the front, and that's NFT Valhalla.
Blue
your grails. You got your blue chips and grails at the front of the train. And yes, Neon Cat is right there, front and center, next to the ringer. You see there the jaded apes, as they call them, bored apes. You got a Beeple every days. You got X copy. Just honestly, absolutely.
What's that $16 million? Like,
I was trying to figure that out too.
This
triangle? I think isn't that a pack?
I've heard pack thrown around, yeah.
But this is, just to be amongst these artists and projects, to be enshrined in such a cool, culturally relevant way for all of eternity, Chris, that's got to be a crazy feeling, man. Like I can only imagine it hasn't even fully sunk in.
Every day it's like that, honestly. But I will like go back in time and mention that like when the Neon Cat sold, it was a huge boost. It was before the Beeple sale. And when that one hit, I remember I was literally on like major media websites being interviewed. And I was like brand new to the blockchain and all this. So I had no idea what I was talking about, but I was doing my best. But like everybody was interested, like CNN, Wall Street Journal, like really huge websites were all covering this sale. And that actually got a lot of people on board. Like I keep hearing that people were introduced to NFTs because of that sale. So it's really cool. Like that I had that platform to do so. But so I figure like the Simpsons kind of understands that Nyan Cat is also incorporated in NFT land. So it was just, I don't know, it was like a good inclusion.
So another conversation
should have been a donut instead of a pizza, man. Like, it would have been perfect. Neon donut, you know, in line with the Simpsons. That's just
so we're gonna stay in this convo for a little bit longer here. So one of the interesting kind of emergent things that's happening after the episode is that all the projects that were essentially shown on the show have seen a bid, right? We saw the doodles, they're up like 20-30%. Do we see some buy activity on the Neon Cats right now from
yeah, there were some. There have been some last night. Some were super grateful for that. I saw that Fuckrender bought a glitch Nyan Cat for 0.9, so I'm super thankful to him. I need to message him and thank him later. Each Nyan Cat has their own little like floor based on popularity. So, but yeah, I've seen some movement. I've had a lot of people message me with questions. They're like, "Oh, we're interested. We're gonna see what's going on." But honestly, you know, I'm just happy to be featured. If nothing happens after this, I'm still very fulfilled with everything I'm doing out here for sure.
Yeah, man. And you were mentioning on GM Web 3 again. Thanks for just hopping in here today on such a cool day to get to talk to you. You were mentioning that Web 3 and NFTs in general did play quite an important role into where you're getting at now, which is really, it seems like you're on this sort of staircase up to turning Nyan Cat into a global transmedia IP and brand across fashion, games, art, NFTs, all these different verticals that you're now able to tap into with these cool opportunities. But you had mentioned that really crypto, NFTs, Web3 actually played a really instrumental role in getting you here.
Absolutely. Before I got into Web3 NFTs, Nyan Cat was an entity that was just on the internet and nobody knew who it was. It wasn't until I minted that first NFT that people were like, oh, somebody actually owns this, somebody actually created this. And it totally set a spotlight on me on you know, being the creator. And ever since then, everything's just skyrocketed, like for sure. It's been absolutely insane. But all this time I've been watching people, you know, put Nyan Cat on literally anything that can move out there in the world. And now now that people know that somebody created it, there's an actual artist, you know, I'm getting all these people that are interested in doing some cool stuff. So yeah, I got games coming soon. I actually had one that I stress tested earlier this month. Congrats to those who played. I got fashion stuff going on. I have an ice cream thing in Vegas that's tentative. Next week, actually this week, is it this week? Yeah, this week I'm actually going to Las Vegas to be part of a different meme documentary because of this. Like it's totally opened all these doors, and I really do have Web3 to thank, because like I would just still be out there trying to prove who I am otherwise if it wasn't for blockchain technology showing, hey, this is the person that minted it and this is the proof that this person created this piece. So super thankful for just the technology in general for sure. Yeah, and that's the game right now. It's currently still in spooky mode, but that was kind of like a stress test situation. But we're trying to expand further with seasons, and we're trying to also do a mobile app in the future. So we actually have a meeting in about 20 minutes, so I got to wrap up pretty soon. But yeah, it's good things all coming my way, which I'm super grateful and feel blessed for.
Dude, you got the Game Boy. Dude, it's just so cool to see you at this stage, man, where you're really like getting this momentum and traction and attention, bro. It's awesome.
It's pretty great. And honestly, like I see the same for so many other artists out here. So my only message is to other artists is keep it up, because it's not easy, but if you just get through the other side, it makes sense.
Okay, we're having a crazy episode here, so apologies for not hitting the chat up to this point. You guys are blowing it up per usual. Guys, if you can help me as well, GIF and Biggie, and if you see any comments you'd like to pull out, please do so. But let's give them a quick shout out here. Prodigy, Squashman, Shia, Decrypt Lorian, Choina with the OVOT. DP is in the house. Nick Swervis said, heard Manfred Mann played over at Ape Fest. Who else do we have? Inside NFT. So Huda is there. Huda, if you're here, man, doors open.
Jump on in, bro.
Jump in whenever you can. No pressure or anything like that, but would love to see you up here and see what you were up to over the weekend. OG style, easy in crypto. One of the longest running community members here, an OG for sure. Okay, we're gonna hop out of this conversation here in just a moment. If you have any last thoughts, make them super quick. But I did want to pose this chat to you guys as well as the community. So the collections that were on this, with the other. Oh, actually, we failed to mention it was Rob Gronkowski, I believe Kylie Jenner, and Jimmy Fallon were the ones that were like they a great ode to NFTs as well. The influencers that actually knew what they were doing is how they're kind of pitting it. So they're not like these kind of bumbling buffoons that don't know what they're doing, just being extractive. They actually know what they're doing in this episode. But we do have a ode to a FOMO meter as well. I don't know if you guys can read that, but it says.
Never heard of it. Saw a tweet about it.
Mentioned
only
on the Today Show.
That's such a good Easter egg to like
It is.
zoom in, and yeah, it's so good.
And the red ones, right before you reach the negative here, it's mortgage the house. So that's the highest that we have. Oh, there is the top shot. Yeah, you can barely see it.
Yeah, it's like a guy just throwing a basketball like on loop. That's got to be Top Shot.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's another part where you can see it better, and it's like
what about
like you said, Chris?
What about this one though? We got to look at this one. I mean,
that's
come
not
on.
A Naka. Is that
how
it's
many
a coincidence?
I mean, how many other projects are pixelated heads with that kind of beard that have backwards hats?
Punks maybe?
My concern is that
Punks don't have backwards
this
hats.
episode may have been in the works for months, so that's my only concern. But I do see the resemblance, and it is pretty close. So I mean, who knows?
Okay, so let me pose a question then, and that'll be it. Other than our closing comments here, what didn't make the list that should have made the episode? Right, I think Super Yetis was one that was thrown out that I think should be made it.
That would have been so good.
But we see here in the back of the bus, Doodles is probably the most known out of these, other than Top Shot. What else, fellas? What should have been in the
turtle?
Back of the bus?
What's the turtle one? I don't know what turtle is.
Yeah, I don't know what the turtle is. Oh, you know what? There was a turtle project
Turn turtles
2 years ago. That was like
turtles.
I want to say it was a
Turtles.
rug,
Yeah.
but I remember a project with turtles and people going crazy over them. So that may be it.
Yeah, there's been a couple. They did also like one like that was like a derivative of Ninja Turtles, like but with the shells, right? But I think it must be Turnt Turtles.
That looks like a pixelated turtle though. Some kind. I do really want to know what this broken egg thing is supposed to be. That's the thing that has me the most curious.
I don't see anything on a quick Google search. All right, fellas.
Yeah.
Back of the bus. First of all, I think CryptoKitties should have been back here if they're using the actual prices.
They got provenance, bro. They at least got provenance.
They do, but
you had to
dude,
take over the nursery, bro. Like it needed to be a nursery.
Those 27, yeah, I get it. I like that theme, correct. But I just wish my CryptoKitties were worth more. Doodle should be.
I'm right. Kevin should have been there too. Dude.
Oh,
Kevin should have been there for sure. Absolutely.
All right. Any last takes? What should have been at the front of the bus or like near the front?
Squiggles, I think. I own the Nate Zero, but they're out there all the time. Can't think of what else.
Yeah, it's interesting that they had. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, like definitely artists, like, you know, like my major artist favorite of mine is Christy Glass. She should have been up there. Awesome pixel artist as well. I don't know. Yeah, I know the front of the bus was more artist oriented. So I'm trying to like brainstorm that.
I think it's interesting that they chose to put ringers instead of squigs in for sure. It's an interesting choice.
It looks a little more fine art, right? And like if you were already gonna do the neon cat with you know the rainbow, like doing a squiggle that's also kind of a rainbow, it might have been a bit much.
Moon cats.
That's true. Were there any CryptoPunks in the front? Because it looked like CryptoPunks were just in the back because they're all pixelated heads.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, that might be the notification that you got to get up out of NFT.
Yeah, I gotta get running. Yeah, for sure. But thank you so much for having me on. You guys are awesome. I love just chatting with you any chance I get. And keep it up. You guys are kicking ass out here. And good luck on was it 300 coming up?
300 on GM Web 3. This is like episode 370 on NFT Live. But yo,
shoot. Okay.
Dude, Chris, thank you. Keep coming back and telling us, you know, about your fashion, about all this stuff, man. We wanna follow your journey, dude. It's awesome. Keep it up.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Oh yeah,
all
man.
Right. Yeah, you guys have a great day. Thanks for having me on.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Dude, he's at this spot, man, where it's like he's about to be taken off to that next level. Cause yeah, Nyan Cat is established as
Iconic, man.
dude. It is one of the most like it's like Pepe, you know, it's one of the most famous internet icons, except the difference between Pepe and Nyan Cat is one is very family friendly. You know, like one can go places that the other one just cannot. They're almost like opposite in a way. You know what I mean? It's
bashing
really
Pepe GIF. Are you bashing Pepe? Pepe can be anywhere too.
Bro, I love Pepe. And no, you're right, because we know that in like Hong Kong and parts of China, it's actually used as like a symbol of hope. You know what I mean? So
you know what? Gifted was flaming me. Okay, early in the episode, he wasn't flaming, but he was kind of joking me about this rate my bags. But rate my bags, although we're not doing it. Okay, don't run away just yet. It might be a good look at like what's missing, just on like a very top level. Let's see if they're just from a 10-second look here.
Yeah,
Pudgies maybe, Nouns glasses.
Dead fellas would.
Nouns glasses would have been an easy one to put in on somebody, and it would just I would have loved to see Gotchis. Gotchis could have been really cool, like with the pixelization into the chain,
Cock punch, just an easy seamless. A sup duck would have fit well into that episode. Yeah. All right, cool, man. That's great. Overall, again, like we wanted to start off highlighting.
It's a W, man. It's a W, 100% W.
Okay, tell me this. Does this not look? No, go back to that. Just look at this real quick. Does this not look to you kind of like it could be a Deadfellas reference potentially right at the front?
You're reaching.
Yeah,
it's Treehouse of Horror. It's a skull.
All right.
I think you're reaching a little bit.
I'm trying. All right. Well, like Deadfellas would have been a cool one. All right.
Biggie, what was your last thought there?
Oh no, I was just saying that they look like obits to me as opposed to Deadfellas.
But
like
as far as the episode.
Oh, W, man. I am stoked, dude, that they did that. It's awesome. And I'm sure I'll have like a couple of friends that'll be like smirking and be like, oh, they made fun of NFTs. I'm like, thank God they did, because it was really well done. But yeah, at this point, I feel like you just gotta embrace everything, like the good and the bad. Like we are getting a lot of spotlight shown on this space right now, and you just got to embrace it and be happy that it's happening, because that's how you get into people's minds.
It's a very interesting conversation that we're about to have on that front, Biggie. But before the last thing I'll show on The Simpsons, the DGMD actually did some cool research here. The NFT themed episode of The Simpsons last night had the highest online engagement score of any episode of the last 2.5 months. The highest school year started.
The power of the degens, my friend.
I was going to say it was very strategic on their point, because I'm sure as they were going into creating the Treehouse of Horror event, part of what they're looking at is like, what are the topics that are going to create conversations? And they know that there's a lot of animosity around NFTs. It's very polarizing, but also that there's crypto degens on Twitter that will absolutely pick it up and go fucking wild, just like us sitting here fucking talking about it. And that's why, again, strategically, it does come off as a love letter, but it's also very smart to be integrating each of these different communities into the show. For that very reason.
100%. I agree with you. All right. We are about halfway into the episode, and we're going to make a transition really quick to talking about the rest of what's happening in the industry. I will say, like, let's transition a little bit. Stats was on a heater this morning. And really, the posts that he was sharing were essentially both the altcoin and maybe just the broader crypto space, as well as the price floors and NFTs and the buying activity, the volume. The energy is there. And it does feel like OGs are kind of side-eyeing each other, in my opinion, of being like, are we back? This feels good. We're getting mainstream shows here on The Simpsons. We're seeing volume increase. We're having a couple wins with the
Can we be happy? Can we meet for brunch?
Exactly. Nobody wants to kind of catch that knife on just sentiment in general, let alone price floor. So real quick, I'll show off these, and then I want you guys' takes on on where we're at, man, because there's a lot of energy happening right now. All right, the first one he has here is the state of the NFT market in 4 charts. Total ETH volume risen for 4 weeks in a row. Obviously, this is weekly, so we're not even kind of at highs of it looks like this past year. So just keep that in mind. Blur token price is pumping off the bottom. This one's really interesting. We've been covering it. Unique wallets buying NFTs has not risen at all. So
And
that's a go ahead.
That's very telling, right? Like it's contrary to everything else that we're seeing. I think, look, the fact that we're seeing volume pick up and we're stepping up and to the right is a great thing. But I'm gonna burst all y'all's bubble with a smile, because it's still positive. It's still good. We need to embrace this, but be very conscious that we are coming into the holiday season. People are getting their bonuses. People are getting, ready for the holidays. And I think, for DJs, it's the same thing. Like you get a little euphoric. We've seen it time and time again. Just don't lose sight of the fact that there's a whole world out there and a whole bunch of things that happened. Putin just left the nuclear agreement, right? Like the nuclear ban testing agreement, right? Like there's so many things that can happen that can put a dent in this. Hopefully that's not the case, and we can finish this year strong, like in good spirits. I'm all for that. But yeah, I understand why people are hesitant to, call it like it's changed and we're going up, and I'm not sold on it.
All right. Gif, I want your take here as well. Let me show this off pretty quickly. The last chart on his look was the large cap PFP index. So you can see price floors moving even as ETH moves upwards. So that's one thing to keep in mind. This is within the confines of ETH actually going up above 1900. Beanie was talking about the ETH BTC ratio, which is he expects to continue to outperform Bitcoin there on the ETH front. And then lastly, which we'll talk about meme token here in a second, he's showing off the winner being Grapes NFT, which that seems to be some sort of the meta that we're in. Grapes NFT having a fungible token that is going to be, going to be farmed essentially a la meme. So that floor price has pumped. I don't know where it stands today. I could find that very quickly. But Gif, let me get your takes in here on what we're talking about.
Inside NFTs is Huda, right?
Yes.
So, okay, I like Huda's take here saying January boom is primed but can't see anything real or sustainable. I'm looking at this as these are the very, very early rumblings of what eventually turns into the next bull. And so, yes, I think that the holidays are going to look pretty good, probably some volatility, but going into January, I think we'll see some good sentiment, a little bit more liquidity, people starting off the new year, repositioning, doing cool things. So I do think there will be a little bit of it's usually January to like mid-February, we tend to see some kind of like action. So I think there will be some kind of January run, like Huda's saying. But I think that you'll see a lull, you'll see pullbacks, and I think it is probably going to be summertime when things hopefully start to really pick back up. So we could be almost a full year out from when things really turn around still, in my opinion. But I give it 6-7 months. But I think these are like, it just feels clear that we bottomed out and we're starting to cycle back, right? But it's a big cycle, right? But it feels like we're now in this part instead of this part, which is nice.
We saw a meme token launch that has a lot to do with the current environment. Meme token launched on Friday to a $2 billion market cap, $2 billion with a motherfucking B. And this token apparently has no use case. That was what the team put out there initially. And it's now up over Ape. It's more than a combined market cap, although this has shifted a little bit. I think we're at like 1.3 billion on meme. But at the time of launch, it came out higher than Blur and Pepe combined. So meme token is definitely, I think, going to be looked back at the end of, I think we're in Q4 now, of 2023, and essentially as a big part of like one piece that moved us forward. Because what you do need is a liquidity event that can get the ball rolling for other projects where somebody just made 50K, 10K, whatever, and then they start putting it into other projects. And we saw that with the Grapes chart.
Yeah, it's like these big liquidity events build on each other, and you create momentum again, and eventually that all runs into the next thing. But it's just cool to kind of take that step back and literally think about it as a cycle. And like, we've literally now at this point together, like, if you're still here and you've been here, if you've been with us on this journey,
congratulations.
You've literally almost gone a full cycle. Like we were here, watched it do this, go all the way up, and then we've been tracking this painful down, slowly, still down a little more. Can't go any lower. Oh, it's still going lower. Oh fuck, it's still going lower. And now we're just starting to like pull out and see a little bit of that up trajectory on the other side of this giant fucking cycle, man. And it's crazy. It's crazy that, like, if you're still here, shout out to you, man. This has been a fucking crazy cycle.
And if you were farming Neem, man, congratulations also, right? Like, you need to see people winning and to see these projects do well. I'm stoked, man. I have a couple of friends that have been in it since the beginning, and man, you can't help but be happy. Like, be happy for your friends. If you know people that have been doing it and everything, fucking congratulate them. Make sure to encourage them to celebrate. It's important. You know, it's a good moment.
Yeah, except inside NFTs, Huda. Sorry, I'm thinking Yuga Labs because you're talking about SEC Yuga. Huda's trying to rain on the whole parade and burst everybody's bubble, saying that there's going to be big SEC charges that break the space at its core.
It's cautionary, but I think it's important. And I appreciate you, Huda. I'm in your camp as well. It's always important to temper expectations because it's very easy to get caught up in the euphoria. If you've been here in multiple cycles before, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
The issue is if you are too cautious at the beginnings of these runs, and I agree, like, you don't want to be fully at the beginning kind of over allocating, but if you are too cautious and you say, well, you know, we still got some things going on over here, like NFTs, those seem kind of weird. That's what you were thinking. You were talking about maybe having a DeFi run off DeFi summer in 2020. Then you totally got your ass kicked, or at least you just did. You missed a lot.
Scared money don't make money for sure. You just gotta understand, again, risk reward, and it sounds simple, but it's hard to implement. You know, it's everything, like taking into consideration everything from your entry point to your exit point. And I understand that, like, a lot of people right now, if you're still here, like you said, your bags are pretty wrecked, right? So to be considering picking up additional supply, right? Or going into something, you got to be very, very careful. And unfortunately, like, that's degen mentality in general, you know, like, and so I think what Huda's saying right now, and I truly believe it myself, is like, relax, temper your expectations. You know, you're surviving already. No need to rush in and get wrecked. You know, hopefully you've already picked, you know, certain assets that you think will do well, you know, in the next bull run. And I'm not saying, like, you know, definitely track the space. It's just like, again, be careful. It's very easy to get caught up in the euphoria of it. And personally, and Q, like, that's been my experience. It's like, I've always done best by being more cautious than euphoric. Whenever I've been caught up in euphoria, it doesn't work out really well.
So I want to tee up Nifty Q over here. You said you were meeting with Mike Finch and talking about how to improve on the next cycle and not make the same mistakes. So do you have a tidbit of wisdom that you came out of that conversation with that you'd like to bequeath us with?
No, you know, me and Mike it'll now be our third cycle, right? So definitely, like, what I'm looking at personally is management of my time during this cycle. I think I got caught up maybe doing too much on the content side and not focusing a lot on me personally, and that did not work out well, you know. And I think the main takeaway, not related to Mike Finch, but related to in general, like, with this combo, is like, if it's a bull run, you'll fucking know it. Like, that's the most biggest tip I could ever give you, is like, you'll know it's a bull run, and we won't be asking, hey, is this the run? You'll be in it and you'll be feeling it, and it won't feel like this where everyone's kind of like, you know, where are we at? So that's my biggest thing with it as it relates to this bull. As far as the conversation, it was just talking about it, you know, kind of making sure that we take time to assess what's happening, and obviously kind of bet on the horses that we want to bet at. One of the big ones that he's betting on right now is that Friendtech airdrop. So he's, put a good amount into the fact that this Friendtech token could be worth something. And you know what? The meme token drop being at 2 bill for a useless token says a lot for what those points drops might be with one of the better SocialFi apps that we see out right now.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing, shout out my friend that I really appreciate about him is that like he's really particular, right? Like that's the sense I get anytime he like shares info in our Telegram channel. And it's like he forms a thesis. Once he has something that he's got conviction on, he sizes it adequately, and he doesn't chase every shiny object that like is presented in front of him, right? Which is, I think, also another very important thing. Is like you try to carpet bomb everything, right? Like you're not going to be able to keep up with everything, Like it's much better to commit, to find a couple of things that you want to commit to, and then try to keep like, your degen bags like separate and, compartmentalize, I would say.
Gif, you have any takes here?
I want to know which projects Easy is referring to. And also, I will call out Choina as saying maybe we should be looking at projects based outside of the US. The Freedom meme has had to play based in Asia speaks volumes. And yeah, we do our best to try and pick up on these things. It is difficult being so removed from the Asian market, but absolutely, if you've got any great resources, ways that we can stay better on top of the Asian market and things like that, please let us know, because yeah, we're always doing our best to try and understand what's happening over there. It's just not easy.
Asia and UK. And I think if you want to follow,
UK is going to be interesting.
Yeah, like because obviously like those have a lot, they've adopted that technology and try to be thoughtful about their regulation, right? And they're not going to be obstructed by Uncle Sam. Having said that, I think like if you want to look at what's happening in Asia, shout out to the ARC community. I've mentioned it before. Really big players there. I think like that's a great place to get a line on what's going on in Asia. Another one is Puke Rainbow. Shout out Puke Rainbow. You can look him up on Twitter. Like he's also pretty well plugged in, and it's a great source to find out what's going on in the space.
This is 100% the time to kind of allocate a lot of interest and effort into what you're interested in this space. If you're picking the right horse, it's going to do extremely well, right? Like if SocialFi does well, whoever's really heavily focused there is going to see really good strength. If gaming, we've already seen that, which is incredible to me. You guys have really been on the pulse of art and higher end art and just the open edition, all this stuff in the bear market. That's how like you're experienced, right? You're making money in the bear out of nothing, right? And in the bull, whenever any project kind of launches, regardless of what the fuck it is, I mean, every single project ran in the bull market, no matter what the hell it was at one point, until that obviously slowed down near the end. What do you got here?
I'll share one piece of alpha in terms of
beautiful
artists.
What is that?
Artists that I would be collecting that I've talked about a lot. Kim Asendorf. This is a cargo, which was their first art box, and this specifically is so painful because this is my last cargo that I had to sell literally to pay rent this month, and it was acquired by Artblocks Corporate Collection now. So congratulations, Artblocks Corporate Collection. You now hold my favorite cargo that I ever had and my favorite Kim Asendorf piece that I ever had.
It's a beautiful piece, my friend. And I'm sorry you had to part ways with it. But I love the fact that whenever or if ever somebody looks at that piece and they go down and they see who the owners were,
they'll see Nifty Castle.
Well, that's fine. I mean, you're the founder of Nifty Castle, so that works. Real quick, since you asked about Mike, I'll pull up one of the things from his friend Tech Chats, which sums up his thoughts. I'll try to do this quickly. It's a paragraph. For me, it's important I totally botched the start of that. For me, it's important to step back after big losses or gains. Otherwise, there's a decent chance you'll give more away and give it right back to the market. If you're comfortable in the market, this can be hard to do, but I think it's necessary in order to reset your mind and emotions. For example, as I take profit, on long-term bags that end up being big 6 or 7 or 8 figures wins this cycle. Jesus, Mike, hit it. I plan on not touching that cash for a minimum of 12 to 18 months. This is because I recognize my brain needs time to get comfortable with that new number on the screen. Otherwise, what happens is you look at expenses or purchases against this new number and think, oh, there's quite a discrepancy here. That new number can cover in my expenses X amount of times over. In reality, what is happening is my brain is hyper-focused on the short term and has ignored all things that can and will go wrong, as well as all the unexpected expenses and needs for business, family, etc. over the next 3 years before the market returns again. My brain is stuck in the bull market mentality when I need to remove it from the market and let it get back to a more normal, balanced market mentality.
Yeah, the euphoria is a real thing. It's like a drug. Like you get high. When you start to see things popping off and you make some quick, you make some quick sales and the FOMO starts hitting and everybody's making money around you, and then you get a quick hit and that dopamine of a sale and et cetera. It's like the greed, the euphoria, like the FOMO. It literally is like your brain on drugs. Like you are fucking high and you start chasing that shit. So all I heard there was him literally like breaking down, how do I not
stay sober, man? Like,
yeah,
it's so
exactly.
important.
Yeah.
You see like big platforms formed around investment like Real Vision, and they have a whole section dedicated to the mental game aspect of this, right? It is so important. And I would love to have Mike back on the show sometime, Q, and to talk about this, because like having that mental fortitude in making those plans, like having that type of a thesis in your mind and sticking to it, is super important for your survival down the line, and like everybody's guilty of moving those take profits and stop losses all the time, and that's your head fucking with you. That's pride fucking with you. Somebody, Marcellus Wallace, would say. I would love to have him on the show. Mike's a phenomenal thinker. I always perk up.
Yeah, he's supposed to come on once a month. We haven't seen him in a minute. We got to get Mike Finch back in here.
Yeah.
And we got Huda over here talking about FX Hash. Yes, Kim Asendorf has some awesome early experimental collections on FX Hash for pretty affordable, like reading a book, like the Monogrid 1.1s or whatever. I've got all those, and there's several other. Kim Asendorf has a lot of stuff on Tez, but also sharing a piece of alpha here saying, by the way, FX Hash 2.0 on ETH launches December 1st. Gen art traded like degen art could get wild. I love FX Hash, so that's actually really exciting and something that we haven't really covered. So thanks for sharing that.
All right, we've got a ton of different stories we want to cover. I think we did a little bit of an ode there to the market and kind of our thoughts, being now this our second or third different cycle. So hopefully you took something away from it. The other thing I would say is that now is the time to find those people that you want to experience this next market with, and we're always trying to do that as well. Everybody's an expert in their own thing. So being able to have a caravan that's filled with fucking smart people is important for this run.
Dude, my post about that popped off over the weekend about like the circle getting tighter and smaller.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah. That's one of my most engaged with posts of all time. It was crazy. I didn't expect it to resonate that much, but
okay. No, I loved it, man. I loved it. I retweeted all that stuff. So, guys, leave a like here at the end of the episode. We're about 10 to 15 minutes left here. I do want to touch on another post that did more than sorry to overshadow you, GIF, but another project made a huge announcement that got more than 1.3 million impressions, which is this Yuga Labs talking about Magic Eden. We're partnering with Magic Eden to launch the new Magic Eden ETH marketplace, the first major ETH marketplace contractually obligated to honor creator royalties. Will launch end of 2023, so that's very soon. And you can see the number right there, 1.3 mil. You don't see that number very often in this industry. You see it more, obviously in the traditional tech or culture scene. But yeah, this one obviously hit a chord, and we can touch on some OpenSea in this as well. But what do you guys think here? And then we can meld in some Ape Fest.
Pumped, man. I contractually obligated. I just want to see what that means. I know like even our friend Mark kind of blasted Magic Eden there and being like, you don't even hold up your royalties for your ordinal collections. Like you're going to do it for Bored Apes. It's like, and I get it. Like you do need to be hard on these platforms, right? Like because they will try to get as much of an edge as they can from the market, from other competitors. And so I want to see what this is about. It's obviously bullish sentiment. I'm all for it, dude. If it works out, it's going to be so much better for the marketplace and for creators. And I think like deep down is what we would all like to see, right? I think.
Yeah. Look, we can't forget Magic Eden was absolutely part of the initial like knife in the back on royalties and saying, fuck it, they're optional. And that really did sort of initiate a lot of the momentum towards, marketplaces sort of doing away with royalties. So we don't want to forget it. But if they are now seeing the opportunity to actually try and be part of the solution in some meaningful way, I am here for that. And again, I think anybody who can provide more competition to OpenSea and work on the behalf of creating better creator protections, creator tools, better experiences for the community, et cetera, I am here to see it.
And let us be the first one to mention this name if you haven't heard it, Creatorhood. You're going to hear more about them in the next coming weeks. You'll say, hey, I heard it first on NFT Live, and we'll obviously be talking more about it as we go forward. All right, so this is the volume today. This is on ETH, okay? So Solana Maxis, just settle down. We know you got some stuff going on over there. But you can see Blur has taken almost a majority of the volume. I mean, almost fully. It used to be very like 60-40. Now, on most days, it's about 70-30, maybe even 80-20 split there from Blur. Of course, those are larger traders. It's just the sentiment on OpenSea is so bad that you're kind of looking at this saying, well, Blur's got the traders. Can there be a step in marketplace that's here that says, hey, we're going to establish ourselves and we're going to be innovators? And that's what I'll give them on this front, because I don't want to get into the royalties debate, but I've always preached that of an open market answer for this. It can't be like a social contract between people that we're going to pay royalties because everybody's making buku bucks. It's whatever the market says. And so when Magic Eden launched that, the community had an opportunity to say, no, we're paying royalties. But guess what? The community in IRL, what it actually was that nobody wanted to pay that shit when someone offered another thing. So really what they're doing is stepping in here, in my opinion. I know that everybody's got their thoughts on royalties, but they're offering a market option for this, a product that is looking at the market saying, here's how we can maybe do this.
Yep. Yeah. And I agree with all of it. I liked your take, Q, on why you're now coming around. Because correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to like put words in your mouth. I think initially when I was saying I think they're gonna probably have to launch a token, that you felt like no, they'll never do it. I think you were on that side of I don't see OpenSea launching a token, but you made a great point now on the other side of that, saying they're kind of in a corner because they're investors. The people want money back.
Yep.
And not just from like, hey, we have to stay competitive and have a business here in the next year or two with all these marketplaces breathing down our necks, innovating faster, providing different types of incentives and things that we can't do, being more decentralized and for the community in ways that we haven't been. But you made the point that like, how else are they going to get liquidity out for all their fucking investors?
That is what it is. So when we initially had that discussion, the question on OpenSea's future, I think, was a little bit more clear. They're going to be a top marketplace. Hopefully, they don't continue to screw up. But in this subsequent year since we've had that conversation, they've fumbled even more. And it's very clear at this point that they're backed into a corner. The community has totally turned their back on them for the most part. So where's that volume going to come back in the next run? Therefore, if they've lost this, then they can't go out and raise another $1 billion or some type of ridiculous at some type of ridiculous valuation that hasn't already been raised. They raised a ton of money already. They can't then go back and really fuck their initial investors at a lower valuation is what would happen now. So instead of that, what they can do is say, hey, we're OpenSea. Remember us? We're the creator for the same old bullshit that they'll always say. Just like I'll bring up Devin Finzer's comment. But what they can do here is say, we're going community first. Here's a token. And that token can then be used and doled out to their investors to dump on your ass.
Wow, that's awesome. Can't wait for that. I don't honestly. I don't think, as much sense as that makes, Q. I really think OpenSea was founded and created as a traditional company that was primed at some point and was going to go public, and that was their roadmap. I think for them to pivot now and embrace the release of a token, especially with what Huda was talking about, that the SEC is still after ApeCoin. Like, nobody in their right minds, no legal counsel is gonna advise that you take that route. And even for investors, right? Like, if they were to embrace the token and go and dump it on our asses, as you said, the heat that would come down on their ass for it would be gargantuan. And I mean, you got to understand that these portfolios contain a lot more than just OpenSea, and you're not going to put that at risk for something that's still undefined in the U.S. marketplace. If it was,
those investors are not going to be the ones that get heat, bro. The investors never are the ones that get heat. It's the project.
Why couldn't they do what Coinbase has been doing and just move some of, like, I wouldn't be surprised if part of firing a lot of their staff was to say we're moving to the UK, we're moving part of our business to the UK or to Asia. Like, Coinbase has literally been doing this because there are ways to operate around what's happening in the US.
True, but there's always an exit tax for everything. Even if you were to renounce your US citizenship right now, like, you'd have to pay tax on whatever you've made. Like, I think it's up to like 300 or 400K. Like, you have to pay like half or something. There's always an exit tax. I don't think it's as simple as just like, registering a domain somewhere else, like, just the transplanting is not as easy, I don't think, especially for these projects that are already like established and situated here.
I like the opposite take you're taking here, Biggie, because there is definitely a realm where they go and they say, we can't do this. But what I'm looking at as well is this chart. And to me, this chart says, what the fuck are we going to do?
Do something.
We're about to
do something.
No, see, that was always my case, because I see everything you're saying, Biggie. Like, there's a lot of reasons why it will be difficult for them to launch a token. I agree. There's a lot of reasons why, a lot of pushback to why they shouldn't do it. Yet, if you're looking at literally the survival of the business and the marketplace and being competitive into the future, or basically just being relegated to being an explorer, like, I think Huda has an interesting comment over here saying Brian Brinkman commented that OpenSea is basically just a wallet explorer and they should lean into that. Maybe they could do that. But the alternative to just being a wallet explorer and no longer really being a dominant competitive marketplace is to actually do this. So it's like, it could go either way. There's a lot of pushback to launching it. However, if you're in a corner and you're saying, do we want to compete as a marketplace in the next bull run or not? That's why it's like, you might make some of those hard decisions and figure it out. And there's playbooks to do it. That's the thing. Again, yes, there's probably taxes. There's probably a lot of expenses.
Most of your workforce.
There's friction. Yeah, there's friction. There's all different types of reasons why you shouldn't. However, there are playbooks to how you can.
I'll also say, like, we talked about it being airdrop season, right? That some of these companies, the Rainbow Wallet, I believe, was one of them that came out and said, hey, we got community points. We got points. Wink, wink. So I think people are starting to figure out,
Celestia, you name it. There's so many out there, right? Like,
so I think it might be more commonplace, but I could totally see it could go either way. I would lean towards them needing to do it, but I could totally see them.
Yeah,
the other
but
way
it's
around.
such a big target, very much like Yuga is. It's like, if you do that, you better brace yourself, because they are 100% coming after you. And like you said, maybe these portfolio companies aren't the ones that get the heat, but who in their right minds would step into that puddle of shit that's so goddamn obvious to appease these guys, right? Like, no way. Like, if I was the CEO of OpenSea, or no way I'm taking that. I don't want to. That's 10 years of your life that are going to be like just drained out of you. No fucking way.
All right, we are going to hit a little bit on Ape Fest, guys. We'll be here for another probably 10 minutes, and then we really got to wrap up. And I know, Biggie, you want to show off some stuff as well that we'll get to at the end here. All right, Ape Fest along with this. So they made the Magic Eden Yuga announcement at Ape Fest. You can see Garga right there making 2 announcements. One was that they have a mobile-friendly game that they've had on the wraps that is going to be released here in 2023, or I believe early 2024. I need to get my I'll look for that tweet. Anyways, it's Ape Fest, okay? And they did a merch drop and they did a bunch of announcements. Like, you knew the fudders were going to come out. And it's a tough thing to talk Bored Ape Yacht Club without feeling like a simp or a hater. So it's tough to find a middle ground here. But from what I see, not being in Hong Kong, what I see across my timeline is that this, and I'll talk about Tenacious here in just a second. This was one of the better Ape Fests that they put on.
I agree.
Okay, so
other than the merch complaints and everything, dude, we can talk about it right now. Marty's in Patagonia. He ain't listening. But dude, like, other than the merch complaints that I heard of, most people, the pictures and the conversations and everything has been positive. I think it was great. I got massive FOMO.
Yeah, these I've talked to said it was by far the best Yuga event to date. Tenacious is usually bullish on Ape, so you got to, again, take that with a grain of salt. But the location, the merch, the activations, the collabs, the vibes, the food, the drink, the attention to all of it.
I mean, and most of the FUD that I see out there is just to me kind of nonsense and missing the bigger picture of how dope this really is. The one thing that's especially funny to me is people knocking on the event for not having a good ratio of women to men. And yes, it's unfortunate that they couldn't do a better job maybe of getting a few more women invited or on there. But seriously, you're in at the end of a bear cycle. People flying out to Hong Kong for Ape Fest. Like, if you're going there to get laid, you're an idiot. Like, it's not the place to be picking up girls. It's going to be a bunch of crypto bros. So yeah, it's unfortunate that we don't have better ratios at a lot of these events, but I do think that changes when the market changes and as more people start to enter in again. But right now, man, I don't know. So anyway.
Yeah, the BMW piece here as well. BMW and Magic Eden were like the title sponsors here for the event. And we did see some really cool, I guess, activations here with being able to put your ape on the car. I thought it was really good. Again, we haven't found a name for this, like this term of the actual larger brand adopting
adoption.
NFTs, yeah, as opposed to the redheaded stepchild where they really don't look at it as anything legitimate they need to be backing. But BMW posted from their main account, and it seemed like it was a good activation here.
I just think of it more as like an actually authentic partnership. So yeah, maybe we can come up with a shorthand for it. But to me, it's just like an authentic collaboration versus inauthentic, right? So the fact that they're actually standing by it, putting a lot into it, sharing it with their main communities, the BMW fans out there, and not just relegating it to the basement. Is cool, man. This is, again, just these cultural moments are stacking up right now.
Huda, I just wanted to mention, because you were saying this would have been a perfect time to launch Other Side in some form. They did have all of the apes out there playing Other Side. It just was at the event. I would have loved to have been at home and able to participate. I know some people did. I think Baron Von Hustle, for example, who's hosts at Other Space FM, he was able to get in and be with all the apes there out in HK.
And this is just like one of the IRL events from a prominent NFT project, right? That's been happening. There's
Mocaverse,
also IRL Bright Moments in Buenos Aires that's been a resounding success. Yet again, I hear that they knocked it out of the park. I heard it was really, really cool, and I'd love to hear our local fudder Marty, once he gets back, what his experience collecting his Death Beef NFT was like. I think that's going to be epic. Maybe he comes back a non-fudder. Do you think that's possible?
I don't think that's at all possible.
No.
I'm going to show that Bright Moments video off, but I want to wrap up the ape combo first, and then I'll show off this Bright Moments. Mocaverse is kind of tied in with ApeCoin just via the Animoca brands and Yatsu, and they're one of the biggest delegates for ApeCoin as well. Their Mocha ID is going live on November 9th, it looks like. So that project is doing things here in the space. I think it's hard to bet against this one. Mocha's.
Do you own any of these assets,
you know what? I think I was looking at the broader space just going down, and it wasn't a time where I was trying to allocate 2 PFPs, right? Otherwise, all of it made sense, right? Animoca Brands' premier, like, flagship collection, it made sense to get in. No, I don't. They also had a yacht club party for ApeCoin as well, or I'm sorry, for Bored Ape Yacht Club. So they had their kind of own little side event that went off. I could probably pull up some pictures with the man Yatsu. But yeah, any last thoughts here on Ape Fest, where we go forward? There was that really weird incident.
I call that a W,
eyes.
man. Ape Fest looks like a W to me. I don't
Yeah.
care how much
Yeah.
people whine about not getting a hoodie. Like, it looks like a total massive W.
Any negativity, any negative parts are going to get all the traction. Like, apparently Reddit is going crazy that, like, the light show was too bright and hurt some people's eyes. You know, that's an unfortunate thing. Like, nothing is ever going to be perfect when you got a whole bunch of people going to participate in these crazy things. It's just unfortunate, again, that, like, more of the cool shit isn't going to make those headlines, but whatever. We're here to talk about it. I do agree there might have been a missed opportunity. Again, I'm not trying to FUD it, because, again, they were focused on trying to make the people there have a good time as much as they could. And maybe they didn't have the resources to do everything all at once. So I'm not trying to say that they're wrong, but if they had some kind of big digital experience, other side play test, next trip during the same time, you could see how you could, you kind of take advantage of all the attention, the momentum, and then it just becomes a much bigger thing. So it might be a little bit of a missed opportunity, but again, they can still do that.
All right. ApeCoin also up, although it's tough for me. I think it's more of like an ETH pumping thing that's pushing ApeCoin up. But there's a lot of things happening on that front as well, Ape Chain and some other things. So BAYC seemingly seems to be doing well. Heavy Metal would be another one I would look at. I put this in the group chat. To me, they've hit a sentiment bottom. Like, you can't go any lower than the FUD that Heavy Metal has received in the last 6 months. And I think there's a couple announcements that they already put out. Gargo was mentioning they're part of the collection that'll have access to this new game. I think there's going to be some Heavy Metal movement here in the next coming days. Not financial advice. All right, Biggie, you're the last story here, man. Bright Moments. Do we want to play some of this video with some audio? We want to try it?
Play some, yeah. Trailer Maxis, right?
Woo.
Bright Moments, Buenos Aires.
Okay, we're gonna get started.
Can we spot Marty here?
That's him. That's also him. There he is. We're all Marty McFly. There he is again.
All tiny circles. It's like Impressionism or Pointillism, and you step back and you see a beautiful generative flower.
Para mí, Bright Moments es materializar la vida en lo digital.
Are we getting taken down for this?
No, we shouldn't.
Impossible.
Yeah, this is it's like an indie kind of video. No, we're good.
In creation.
El futuro.
Para mí, Bright Moments es lo mejor del arte generativo.
Fantastic, man.
That is pretty solid, man.
Every time, man. Every time they like, I feel like I don't know if you guys are familiar, but like they say that basically once they wrap up Venice, Italy, which is their last show, like their last city, they're done. Like that was their announcement, right? And I can't help but not believe that. I don't believe that. Like there's something.
I'm sure they'll
such
spin
a
it into
massive
something.
success. Yeah, exactly.
They'll spin it into something else. But I mean, the crypto citizens, right? It's 10 cities. They got to kind of wind down that project at some point, or shift mode into another phase, right?
Well, it's definitely a project that I'm going to keep my eyes on, especially as we arrive to that grand finale, because we know like a lot of people overreact sometimes, right? Or speculate, and like these projects, even like right after the city like releases, right? Like right now, I bet you crypto citizens are a little bit down compared to once you'll see Paris come up, leading up to Paris, like they'll start pumping again. Just the nature of the space, but it's such a fabulous project, in my opinion, that to think that it's just going to end is just unacceptable to me almost. So I'm keeping a close eye on these down the line.
What would you buy into the citizens at right now? What do you think is a good price given whatever sort of utility and interest you think this collection is going to have moving forward?
0.26 already sounds like a great deal. I wouldn't expect them to go much lower. What, like 0.15, depending on the on the market? Like, because if we're talking about, I don't know, I think Paris is like gonna be around early summer, and then Venice is gonna be a couple of months after. So you're thinking if crypto NFT summer is coming, I don't know what these things are going to be at. Like, I'm sure there'll be a dump, but we don't know what ETH is going to be costing at the time. I think there's a great entry point if you were to have conviction that it's going to continue down the line. And if you were going to attend some of these events, I think that's like the main, friction with a lot of people collecting. It has been for me, because I sometimes I'm not going to go to that. I've only been to one Bright Moments, which was the Mexico City one, which was amazing. But that's like, I think that's a big point of friction for a lot of people, right? It's like you can still collect the art, but I'm a purist in that regard. Is like you can delegate and have somebody else mint it for you and airdrop into your wallet. But I agree with what like Marty's doing. Like he flew down there and he's like somewhere like close to the end of the earth right now, probably having a cool conversation with Def Beef and trying to FUD Yuga in the process. But
definitely doing his best.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. We do have to run here, folks. We had one question that GIF pulled up. What do you think about NFTs on the base network? There haven't been much releases there since On-Chain Summer. I know that they were doing some things with some artists, and then we did have the parallel NFTs that we bought into. CBB, the one of the bigger Friend Tech, which Friend Tech's a big, obviously a big app and dApp on that chain as well. They launched NFTs. CBB being one of the larger Friend Tech rooms, they launched NFTs, I believe, on base. I'm bullish on that network. I think that their rollout in summer was awesome. They did a fantastic job. I haven't seen much energy around anything though since then, other than what Friend Tech has been able to pull off.
Yeah, I think like it's obvious where the liquidity is for NFTs. I think for base right now, like it's product, like it's what is it? Basic stress tester product is Friend Tech, right? Like if that proves to have staying power, and you have like maybe more Web3 apps and maybe gaming, but obviously there's competition there too. You got Optimism, which I like is doing really great, and Arbitrum, right? And so I don't know, like I did like do like I think we all did the NFT summer thing here, which was like a bit of a no-brainer to
On-Chain Summer.
On-Chain Summer, yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm sticking with where the liquidity is at the moment, or at least like the narrative, and that it's not base. So yeah, that's my thoughts there.
It's a good point. I will say that if you do have a popular collection in the same way that Ordinals kind of, and this has happened everywhere, but like the first couple collections or few popular ones, I think do extremely well. But you have to be there at the right time. It's tough.
You have to make sure that it's got staying power, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's certain chains already that are going to be around for a while, and like that's where like liquidity is congregating. I think base is still proof of concept remains to see what happens. Oh, my beloved Command A. If you guys are birds, I'm hoping you're working on your piece and are submitting. You have until the 14th, but it's a cool prompt. I like this one, the thing that should not be. And we already had some like really cool submissions. I don't know if you want to go into the website, Q, but there's a couple of cool pieces there already.
Do they have to be submitted as like a certain format, like PNG, JPEG, or
There's
video?
multiple formats. They do handle like GIFs and video and audio, so like you're pretty well covered. The only thing, no generative art yet, GIF, so no coffins as of yet, but anything else is fair game.
I'll make a one of one.
Yeah, go to the current one, like November. I think it's like up in the top right of the, yeah. And if you go to the current theme, and you can see like a couple that have been submitted already. I know who that first one with the turkey is, I think.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a couple of good ones already. I'm really looking forward to diving into the conversation this week, and then finally like voting and everything. I think it's like really unique, novel process that we've got going on there that as we ramp up into our bull phase, we're gonna do well. And just as a reminder, just remember that like Out of Proof have come out and been championed really great artists that are now doing phenomenally well, and I think we have a really talented community already. But Mythics, the burning of oddities is going to end soon. Also, I think it's the 11th of November. So, I think it's a great time to pick up. Mythics are being slept on at the moment. Like not a lot. Also, yes. The project hasn't said a lot about what their place in the ecosystem is and what they're going to happen. But just remember, you own the IP. And we're going to eventually open it up to Mythics as well to contribute to this platform, as well as other people, like not just the same, not just Proof-centric. But yeah, I'm really stoked about it.
All right, let's go with coffins, and then we got to get out of here.
Coffins.
I gotta share this because I'm continuing to put out some interesting little promos. So I'll pull this one up real quick.
I love it.
All right, so here I'm just having fun, y'all. I'm showing off how I'm playing around with some different sizes and compositions. There's going to be some different rarities, some really rare sort of gridded coffins like this. Obviously, you can see some inspiration from what Jack Butcher and Chex have done in this. But yeah, just having a lot of fun with it, and that's a new video. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat. And if y'all are not on the allow list already, please get on it, because I want all the homies. Throw as many wallets as you can on the allow list. If you've got 3 wallets on the allow list, you get 6 free mints. Yeah, you get 6 free mints. I just want my friends, all the homies, to be collectors on this thing that's really special to me. So make sure you're on the allow list if you are not already. We'll be closing in a couple days. Coffins is dropping 1 week from today. It's 1 week, November 13th, 1 week from today.
Yep. Are you launching here? Are you going to have the collection be on Magic Eden?
It's nifty kit, so I guess if that answers the question.
Well, afterwards though.
Shout out to the homies who have been
right.
Yeah, shout out to the friends who are already on the allow list who have been supporting it. It means a ton, And
if I may,
all right,
I would love.
Guys, we gotta get out of here. We got to get out of here soon.
Okay.
Just quick.
Sorry.
Biggie, just be 30 seconds, dude. I want to get this out.
I would love to
20.
see GIF lean into the memento mori aspects of his coffins a little more. I saw that post and he was like, "Are you awake?" I would have followed that up with, "One day you won't be. So get yourself a fucking coffin, bitch."
I love it. I love it.
All the good stuff you get here on NFT Live. Yo, we will be back here tomorrow. We do have a rehash that comes out that kind of breaks down these larger episodes into a small 10-minute recap. So yeah, win GIF airdrop. There it is, GIF. There it is.
I mean, maybe some points.
To Hong Kong.
Maybe some points. If you mint, you might get some points. I don't know.
Biggest news of the day. We're getting out of here. This is the biggest news here, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. We got him. The Cool Cats NFT.
We got him.
Project here. Thanksgiving parade. It's going to start the next bull run. All right. Thank you guys so much. Chris, PR Guitar Man, you were awesome as well. Again, we will be back tomorrow here at 1 p.m. Eastern. Our Vibe, our tribe.